Because the CEO never eats eggs. The scheming woman ordered her son to avoid eating them too. She was afraid her husband would find out that the son wasn't his biological child, so she insisted that her son's eating habits had to match the CEO's. However, her actions backfired. The CEO noticed something was wrong and, remembering how the son looked less and less like him, he quietly took a strand of the child's hair to do a paternity test. It turned out that the son wasn't related to him by blood. Because of this, the CEO began to suspect that his wife wasn't, the woman from that night 6 years ago. The CEO had been framed by someone and got involved in a scandal. He had a one-night encounter with me, who was working part-time at a hotel, but when he woke up, I was already gone. However, he remembered the round jade pendant I was wearing, so he ordered his subordinates to use it as a clue to find me. He wanted to take responsibility for me. When I got home, I found my best friend strangling her belly with a rope. When I asked, she told me she had just found out she was pregnant, but her worthless boyfriend had cruelly abandoned her. With no money for an abortion, she decided to strangle the child herself. I didn't know that my best friend's actions were just to gain sympathy and take my money. Sure enough, when I heard this, I immediately said I would lend her the money, but the scheming woman complained my savings weren't enough, and she tricked me into giving her my jade pendant to sell after I handed it over. I went to the bathroom, but just then, the CEO came over. He mistakenly thought the scheming woman was the woman from the night before and said he would take responsibility for her. At that moment, the scheming woman suddenly remembered the kiss mark on my neck. She asked where it came from. I hesitated and didn't want to say. Then it hit me that the man from that night was actually the billionaire CEO. The scheming woman immediately got furious, seeing that the CEO didn't remember my face. She lied and claimed she was the woman from that night. The CEO actually believed her and took her back to his home. He even took my best friend's unborn child as his own, not knowing that his real benefactor had also found out she was pregnant. 6 years passed. Unable to abort my child, I gave birth and raised him alone. Unfortunately, my child had congenital heart disease. To save money for his treatment, I worked 8 jobs a day. One day, I came to a luxurious mansion to apply for a butler position. Not knowing this was my child's biological father's home, I told my son to wait downstairs. Then, the scheming woman's son, playing carelessly, bumped into the ground. The scheming woman saw this and blamed my son for bullying hers. Even though my son repeatedly explained that he hadn't pushed him, she wouldn't let him go. She immediately ordered the butler to release the dog to bite my son. My son screamed for me in terror. In my panic, I stood in front of my son. Then I realized the scheming woman was actually my best friend. At that moment, the scheming woman realized the boy in front of her was probably the CEO's son. Fearing the CEO might recognize us, she quickly tried to get us to leave, claiming her son had been bumped into. But after asking my son, I found out it wasn't him who bumped into anyone. It was my best friend's son who had bumped into him and then unjustifiably ordered the dog to attack. I knew my son never lied, but thankfully,